Hello YouTube. I am about to work on a chore chart for each of my children and a faux bulletin board, which I will show you how I make those. It's funny, I saw a meme a while back that said there's no bigger fantasy than a mom who just created a new chore chart for her kids. And I've never felt so judged and so seen before. But I'm gonna make a chore chart again and see how it goes. So I did make it previously like a week ago and they did really well with it. My house looked great for like 5 days. And then they were like, I'm over it. But I think what I've determined is that we just have to rotate and keep them moving to different tasks, and they can't just do the same task over and over and over again because they get bored and frustrated and they're like, I want to do something else. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to make it a rotating schedule while still getting everything done and not making it incredibly difficult for myself to keep up with. So to begin, I'm going to take the list that I have and I'm going to cut off their names and the day, and then we'll leave the chores that I have written out. What I was gonna do, I was not thinking straight. So when I was first making these lists, I printed out, no joke, like 36 of these little templates. And I was going to just write out individually for every single day, for every single kid, what I wanted them to do that day. And we were gonna rotate off the list. And I'm like, why am I making so much work for myself? So I'm just gonna make the list and change out the names and the dates, because that sounds easier to me than writing it all out 36 times. Step 2 is laminate everything and get it cut out and ready to hang on the wall. So for those of you not super familiar with the laminators who are trying to figure it out, couple little tips. You always want to load it so you get these little pouches, right, where it's sealed on one side and not on the other. You always want to load it with the sealed side going in first. That way, when it gets, if you did it this way, it could bunch up and bubble, and then it won't be properly sealed. And then if you plan on cutting, you always want space, because if you cut the paper that's been laminated, it's gonna peel faster. All right, so I'm also gonna test out a theory. This brown marker is from a Pilot friction marker. Now, I don't know if you guys know, they're the ones that can erase, but they also erase with heat. So I was gonna see if laminator would erase it or not, just to see what would happen. So like I thought, it did erase. You can kind of see a little bit, but it erased. So you cannot use Pilot friction on a paper you want to laminate via heat. So on another note concerning the Pilot friction pens, I have been told that if you put them in cold, like a freezer or a fridge or a bucket of ice or something, it'll come back. And so I might test that out, because it could make a really good clue for like an escape room or something. All right, my next step is to cut out all the pieces. I'm gonna round the edges because they get really sharp, but you don't always have to. I'm gonna start with the guillotine cutter, and then I'm just gonna round the edges with scissors. Alright, so I have them all cut and ready to go on the bulletin board, which I'm gonna make as a separate video. I will link it somewhere. And then I'll show you everything when it's done. All right, so I have it all set. I gotta say, I think Dollar Tree tacks are getting very dull because I cannot, for the life of me, push them into my wall to save my life. I have broken so many of them, and so many of like the balls or the tops have just pulled off while I'm trying to get them in the wall. And I didn't used to have that problem. Same wall, but it's like impossible to get them in the wall now. I have half a notion to use staples throughout because it's so much easier, but we'll see. So here's what I have. I have their names stapled. They will not move. I have the lists currently thumbtacked and the day currently thumbtacked. These are the extra days. And then I have extra chores that we forgot to put on the list that we will rotate between kids and between chores. Right now, it is not in the order that we're gonna use it, I don't think. I'm gonna have the kids come over here and we're gonna look through it and we're gonna decide who needs to do which chart each day or whatever, and then we'll rotate it as it goes on. Catherine's is stapled because hers does not change right now. If anything changes, I'll probably use a Sharpie or a dry erase marker and just write it down and then erase it as we go.